How's it going, everyone? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware. In today's video, we've got 3 topics to cover, starting out with a brand new Steam Deck beta that has an awesome feature. After that, we now know what Valve is doing with all that frame rate data they're collecting from us on Steam. And finally, I can't believe it, but Nix has put in the work and made Death Stranding 2 playable on the Steam Deck. As always, I hope you're having a great week playing a ton of video games. I spent the weekend learning Blender. I don't know what got me into this. I saw some cool Instagram reels and I was like, I want to try 3D modeling. So the first tutorial I did was I made this scene with a monster and a guy who's scared of him. And the way I went through this course was I would look at what the dude was doing in the video. I would do it myself after I learned the basics and then go through the video and see what I did wrong and correct my mistakes. And then I moved on to this low poly desk and I think it came out really good. So I'm going to work on some more PS1 style stuff. And also I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 3 through the HD collection. All time, one of my favorite games ever. So let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. But let's get into the first news story here and talk about this new Steam Deck beta. Valve has been absolutely cooking on SteamOS updates when it comes to adding new features. The last one was the 3.8 preview. I installed it on my Steam Deck. It has been flawless. I really like the performance gains that I got out of this brand new update. And then they've just been adding beta after beta after beta. And the new feature that they've added is awesome. It allows you to manage your downloads on another PC remotely. So if you're downloading a game on your Steam Deck, right, and you want to make sure it's ready when you get home, if your Steam Deck is plugged into the charger and in sleep mode, theoretically with this new update, you'd be able to wake it up, initiate some downloads, and change the order. So like instead of downloading patches or taking 5 hours to patch Diablo 4, even though you deleted the HD textures, it downloads the game you actually want it to, or vice versa. You could go on your Steam Deck if you're out and about and start a download of whatever you're playing on your PC, so that when you get home, you can just jump right on your PC and start playing the game you were playing on your Steam Deck on your good PC. And the way it works is that once you're in the download menu, you just hit Y to switch between all of the PCs you can access. And the cool thing is you can do this right now. You just got to make sure all of your Steam clients are updated to the correct beta. So this is a feature that I would say is long overdue, but obviously it's a lot harder to figure it out for a PC platform like Steam that's not really an operating system for the way most people use it, because 99% of the people, or 90 now because Linux is 10%, of the people who use Steam are on a Windows PC. So like it's a hard thing to work through compared to something like a PS5, which, you know, you can go on your phone and mess with your downloads there. But I love that they're getting all this stuff out of the way, because they're making lemonade out of the lemons that they got thrown at them through this RAM crisis, where the Steam Machine and Steam Frame would have been out by now, I think, if this RAM crisis didn't happen, and we would have been getting these features all after it came out. So instead of just like sitting back and twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the opportune moment to be able to release the Steam hardware, they're hard at work on making SteamOS better. And I love it because I have a SteamOS PC and I'm on the main update. So I'm on SteamOS 3.9. All these features have been working great. Like the betas have improved 100-fold over the past 4 years from where they used to like cause major problems with games and the operating system itself. Now we're getting new graphics drivers, we're getting new UIs, we're getting new download features, we're getting boutique SteamOS features that are built for the Steam Machine and Steam Frame. Everything is heading in the right direction, and I think if all the rumors are to be believed, that this RAM crisis is at least improving, if not clearing up. So I don't think we have long to wait for the release of the Steam hardware, but it looks like regardless, we're going to have a great experience using SteamOS right out of the box on this machine, and that's awesome. I also saw that Sadly It's Bradley was able to find iconography for the first time you boot up the Steam Machine with the Steam controller. You can find all the menus and actually activate them for how to connect your Steam controller to your Steam Machine. I'd imagine that if you have a PC like I do that has SteamOS set up on it, it'll all work the same. And then there's the other new feature I was talking about a couple videos ago, where on my SteamOS PC, if I hold the power button on the controller, there's a new menu that comes up that says put it in sleep mode, restart it, turn it off, or show the guide that shows you all the button combinations. Because for some reason, depending on what controller you have plugged into SteamOS, it's different combinations. So like starting a recording on the Steam Deck is Steam button and A. On the 8BitDo Ultimate controller, it's like their weird Xbox button and left on the D-pad. So I love being able to pull up that guide menu without turning off my controller. So yeah, we're making lemonade out of lemons here, and I think overall things are going in the right direction. But that brings me to the second news story, which is yet another improvement improvement that's coming soon to SteamOS, because we now know what Valve is doing with all that FPS data they've been collecting. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, in a recent SteamOS beta, they added a new feature to SteamOS where you can allow your PC to collect hardware data while you're actually playing a game. It can measure the average FPS you're getting in said game, upload it to Steam's cloud, and then theoretically they could do something with it. And a lot of what I predicted and other people predicted, because it wasn't hard to figure out, is actually coming true, because on the Steam backend, people were able to figure out that what they want to do is when you go to purchase a game, the Steam client can read your hardware and say, okay, based on other people who have similar hardware to yours, here's the average FPS you can expect in this game. Now, people obviously were quick to point out that it really matters what settings you're running the game at, but like, I don't know anyone who plays on PC and says, I'm going to max this game out and play it at 30 FPS. Like, most people go out of their way to get every extra frame per second that they can get out of a game with the settings that they're using without dropping them so dramatically low that it looks like you're playing a completely different game. So just by like the law of averages and like the way things sift in terms of the sieve, like gold panning or whatever, I think on average, you're going to get a good happy middle ground from the vast majority of people that will result in good data that you can show people when they're purchasing a game. I'm honestly surprised Valve is doing this, A, because it seems like a feature that's too good to be true, and B, at what point do the publishers start getting mad, right? Like, they've already got to be mad about something like steamcharts.db, or, you know, like when you can type any game into Google with Steam charts and see literally how many people are playing at any given time. You can see the peak over the past 24 hours. You can see the all-time peak of a game, and that's great for making an educated decision on a game like Arc Raiders or Marathon or any multiplayer game, because, you know, if a game's been out for a couple of years and you finally decide it's time to start playing it with your boys, you can just check the Steam charts website and say, wow, if my friends aren't online, I'm going to have a tough time finding a multiplayer match, because at any given time, there's only 1,000 people in the game, and that's worldwide. So like server wise, it's not going to start connecting you. You just have less odds to get into a populated lobby if there's only 1,000 or like 5,000 people playing a game online. And the reason I think that would make publishers mad is because, you know, they don't care if you buy a game and there's no online population. They would totally hide those numbers if they could, because they hide them on Xbox, they hide them on PlayStation, they hide them on the Switch. Steam is novel in the sense that it lets you look up the data and see how many people are playing at any given time. And this FPS counter that will show you the average FPS you should expect is coming in at the perfect time, because my favorite thing to criticize developers for is unoptimized games. Like, the reason I'm playing the original Metal Gear Solid 3 right now is because I booted up Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater. I messed with the settings for over an hour and I couldn't get it to not stutter or frame drop whenever water was on the screen on my 5080 PC. I'm like, I'm done. I want to play the remake. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. I don't think that. I know that. I've heard great things about the remake, but the port is just not competent. So because it's just a straight remake with new graphics, I'd rather just spend less time playing the original version of the game. And this would help me reach that conclusion a lot quicker, because I would go on Steam, type in Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, look at people with similar hardware to mine or lesser hardware than mine, see they're getting really bad FPS or 1% lows, and say, wow, maybe I should wait for them to patch this game or just go back and play the original like I ended up doing. It's a great tool for consumers, but they want you to buy the game regardless, and they're clearly okay with not finishing their games, because how many examples over the past couple of years do we have of games like Metal Gear Solid Delta where they come out 80% done, we get the black box with white text apology on Twitter, we're sorry, we're working on it, we just decided to only test our games on PCs with two 5090s SLI together and an AMD 9800 X3D CPU with 9,000 gigabytes of RAM and the best cooling on planet Earth, even though we have data that says 70% of people on Steam are using 4060s. This tiny group of people who have top-end hardware, we're sorry. Like, how many times have we done that? Hundreds over the past couple of years. So if they're already okay with that scenario and they're okay losing sales from that perspective, it's got to make them mad that people are going to be able to make educated choices like this. And this is a conspiracy theory for sure, but the timing is very suspicious with how many of these lawsuits that seem extremely frivolous and like they'll take forever in court, Valve keeps getting slapped with. They're literally being punished for being a private company that puts consumers first. So I love this feature. I think it's going to be great for the Steam Deck, obviously, because the verification system is useless. I think it's going to be great for things like the Legion Go S and Legion Go 2, the ROG Xbox Ally X, and of course the Steam Machine and Steam Frame. It's just giving you more data to make an educated purchase, which is nothing but a great thing at the end of the day. So hopefully this does not take long to get out there, but it's in the back end. It's already active. They've been only collecting this data for around a month. So I think we're heading in the right direction there as well. And finally, that brings me to the third news story here, which is about Death Stranding 2. So in the same week that Crimson Desert came out and took over the entire gaming world, Kojima Productions released Death Stranding 2 on PC. And I was honestly shocked how many people bought it because, you know, the first game was pretty niche. The sequel didn't sell all that well on PS5, even though it's a lot better than the original game from everything I've heard. I haven't played it yet, but I do own it. And I just assumed it wouldn't run on the Steam Deck because of the graphics it was pushing on even the PS5. And then once it came out, that was confirmed. It was like a below 20 experience, despite the fact that it had a Steam Deck preset for every handheld under the sun. It's just not worth playing in that state. So I decided to buy Crimson Desert or play Metal Gear Solid 3 for the 100th time instead. And in that time, Nixes, the company Sony bought to do their PC ports that they're not doing anymore, put in the work and put out a huge patch for the game that increased the performance so much that while you're still going to get a few dips below 30 here and there, especially in the like graphics heavy sequences, for the vast majority when you're running around in the open world, it basically runs at a pretty much locked 30 FPS now. And even at low settings, it's one of those games that still looks pretty good. Now, would I recommend playing this game on the Steam Deck? Probably not. Like, this is a very cinematic game. It's a game you spend hours on. It's very cutscene and story heavy because it is Kojima. Like, this is the type of game that I really wouldn't want to play on my Steam Deck to begin with. The first game feels like it's made for Steam Deck because unlike this game, there's not a lot of story or cutscenes going on. It's very, put at the very beginning, a little bit in the middle, a lot at the end. So you can kind of easily bounce between the Steam Deck and your main PC, especially if you're trying to do all the side orders. And while that mechanic is still in Death Stranding 2, Death Stranding 2 feels like a lot more of a modern AAA game in the sense that everything is covered equally instead of being very gameplay heavy and very story light. But there are people out there who only have a Steam Deck and were probably looking forward to this game because the first one was advertised so much for the Steam Deck. So I'm glad they're supported here and they're going to be able to at least experience this game in a playable state, hopefully from start to finish at a locked 30 FPS. And I know there's people out there who are like, oh, the Steam Deck only runs at 30 FPS. You're playing Death Stranding 2 and the Steam Deck is 4 years old and it's an entry-level device. Like, I think 30 FPS is fine for big AAA games like this. So yeah, I think it's awesome that Nixes is putting in the work. They said they're not done with patches. We should see more performance patches soon, and hopefully they get it to the point where it just runs at a locked 30 FPS. And based on Nix's track record, I don't think that's crazy to start hoping for something like that. So yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. My check-in, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 3, like I mentioned multiple times in this video. It's so good. There's a minor fix you have to do to get the HD version up and running, but that game is definitely timeless. I also set up PS3 emulation for Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker because if you emulate the PSP version, you can't really do the controls right. Like, you can map the face buttons to the right stick, but it's very linear in the way it controls the camera. And also that game natively runs at 20 FPS. And if you use PPSSPP cheats to get it to run at 60, it breaks a lot of the QuickTime events and all of the animations and cutscenes are still at 20 FPS. So it's not good. So I was like, how hard is it to set up PS3 emulation? EmuDeck comes with the PS3 emulator. Then all you have to do is go to Google and type in PS3 firmware, get it from Sony's site, just click update with a computer. It'll download on your Steam Deck. And then you just add it to the PS3 emulator. You're good to go. It runs at 60 FPS right out of the box. It has the controls all figured out. out. It's just like awesome being able to experience one of my favorite games ever in a new way. And I know I could just wait a few months till August when the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 comes out, but like, I want to play it now. There's a good way to play it. I own a physical copy of Peace Walker. I own a physical copy of the Metal Gear Solid Omnibus Collection, the one that has the white cover for PS3 and Metal Gear Solid in black text. So I was like, I'm just going to emulate it. It's awesome. But yeah, guys, that's all I've got for you in today's video. Let me know what you're playing down in the comments below. Remember to subscribe and set your notifications to all if you haven't already. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.